All right, we're here. We're here. And just FYI, if we sound like a little cracked right now, that's because we just finished watching the not fight of the year. Like we were up till honestly, I don't even know how long we were up till
Thank
watch
you.
it.
Thank you, Central Time.
Yeah, thank you, Central Time, and also can we? You know what? It's time. No, actually, it's time. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Let's go. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this because firstly, I have so many things to cover. Because yeah, just FYI, this is an episode on Obito Uchiha, the third in our series on Max Villains. But before we get to that, we need to talk about Netflix
Yes,
because what was that, Netflix? What was that? This is the second time y'all fumbled on the live streams.
indeed.
Y'all need to wrap it up. You should know that you should know that with live streams, right? You know, especially with high tier events, you know everybody gonna be watching. So your servers need to be on 10.
Yes.
But instead, what did we get? Your servers was on a two at the least. Wanna know why? Because of the fact that more than half of us we couldn't even watch the title fight.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't watch Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. We couldn't watch it on your stream because of the fact it kept crashing.
And it was grainy for some people. It wasn't really grainy for me, but for some people, it was like you can't. It was like all pixels.
Oh yeah, that was me too because of the fact like leading up to the fight, like I was watching two of the exhibition matches. Everything was going good until the second exhibition match, in which, yeah, as you mentioned, quality went down to where it was at least like 360p. Looked like I was watching it off my phone from back in 2014, from old school YouTube. And then we had, yeah, and that the buffering slash load times were horrendous, and it just kept getting longer to the point where eventually it just shut off my Netflix altogether. It's just like, oh yeah, you're experiencing issues with your internet connection. It tried to gaslight me into saying my internet connection was trash. Huh? Nah. So
Dude,
you want?
keep
Oh yeah. You want to know what I had to do in order to watch the Mike Tyson fight?
what?
I had to go on TikTok Live, because I knew somebody who would be watching it and probably could be watching it would be live streaming it on TikTok. That's down deplorable. Okay? I didn't even need Netflix at that point. As a matter of fact, give me my money back.
For streaming services. You know what's crazy is that again, yeah, you mentioned it because I know the Love Is Blind reunion crashed. Well, but the thing is that Netflix is going to be airing two NFL games on Christmas this year. Um, NFL gets a lot of like traffic, so a lot of people are going to be like connecting to it. So I don't really understand, especially with this fight, you knew a lot of traffic was going to be on your website, especially since like this was something that was marketed and they definitely dropped a lot of bags to a lot of different people and said, hey, let's pretend for a moment that we don't know what this is and that this is going to be a quote unquote fight. So like that was crazy. And then also something that's really big and important is that starting January, they get Monday Night Raw, which is going to air live. So you can't be having those connection issues because you're going to get like at least 1 million to 1.5 million minimum trying to like of people trying to watch Raw live streaming it. So like if you having those issues, which is like we talked about like the tiers of streaming, and obviously Netflix is king, but I mean like Peacock, YouTube TV, and others are like really good at streaming live stuff. But I don't understand like why Netflix of all things, they should have been doing more of a ramping up period for it because I feel like their live streams are just not like hitting unless it's like something that's very low promotion.
Yeah, and it's terrible that is the fact that literally everyone on the internet is agreeing right now. Because I can't imagine how many people were not able to watch the fight on Netflix. Because you said like at least 1.5 million. I'm speculating probably at least like 800,000 people couldn't watch the fight.
Probably.
because of just how terrible the connection was. And as you mentioned, this ain't the first time, because the Love is Blind reunion, like that was their first time ever live streaming. And what ended up happening? Crash. And how long ago was that? Like at least a year.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely had like 1 to 2 years of time to fix it. And of course they didn't. So that definitely should let you know that they cooked on that. And yeah, all I have to say is, if y'all don't get it together by Christmas, y'all might need to just wrap it up.
I just looked at the numbers. An average NFL game viewership is like 18 to 20 million people.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Christmas is on a Wednesday. There's only 2 games, and I'm pretty sure they're going to space it out. Obviously, you kind of compete with the NBA, but you know, NFL is king. That's going to be like at least 30 million people trying to watch this. So,
yeah, no, y'all cooked. It's wraps.
All right, so let's get to more destruction with it. So I'm Demetrius.
And I'm Demetrius.
And Meet Your Meets presents
Blurred City Podcast.
Before we went on that necessary tangent about, I don't know how like these sites can't handle trafficking in the year 2024 of our Lord, but you know what? Legal Spiegel.
Purpose of this podcast is to explore digital and print media. All sources we reference are owned by their respective companies, and our thoughts and opinions are strictly our own and reflect no biases or corporate agendas. Your discretion is surely advised. Good heavens.
So as Meech mentioned, we are doing our mass character study series. So we started with Dr. Doom, who was like the first one of the major mass character villains of all time. Then we go to Darth Vader, arguably one of the greatest villains of all time. Then we have today Obito Uchiha, who also donned a mask. So this is going to be our final step in it. So we've just kind of been progressing through with character studies, just like backgrounds, stories, philosophies, what shaped these characters. So we kind of broke down every character. You know, with Doom and Vader, the connection, I was kind of like, I feel like there are some, but it's not strong. But then when I got to Obito, I was like, oh, okay, connects to Vader. Okay, connects to Doom in this way. So I'm definitely interested to just kind of like go through his story, background, and how that wraps up.
Yep. As you see, this is why you gotta trust me, because I be locking in. I know what I be talking about when I say these connections. Come on now.
All right. So with that, we are going to get into our character study of Obito Uchiha, also known as Tobi, also known as quote-unquote Madara Uchiha. So with that, do you want to kind of touch on the ties to Doom and Vader just because of how we like framed this trilogy of episodes?
Oh, yeah. So the ties to Doom and Vader are, as you mentioned, numerous, especially on the Vader side of it, considering the fact like, oh, yeah, Tobi's like a masked villain, started off as a hero, lost their way due to manipulations of a more evil figure, caused untold havoc to the main character and the world at large, to where he basically became public villain number 1, and even redeems himself to sacrifice himself for the hero. And there's so much more in that, which we definitely can talk about as we're going over Obito's story, because as a matter of fact, I'll be like, all right, I'll say like, you mentioned like a certain part of the story, and I'll go, Vader, ding.
Exactly. Yeah, so when I was definitely going through the rundown, I was like, dang, that's a lot of connections with it. So kind of just like touching on it. Are we going to touch on it the way his life went chronologically, or kind of how the story was told? I think if we do it chronologically, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, so like we'd do it the same way we did the other two, because we know Darth Vader's story wasn't told linearly.
That is true. All right. So with that, we start with Obito Uchiha's kind of just like birth connection. Younger days, I guess the best way to start is just like he is a part of Team Minato, which has very heavy parallels to Team 7. So with that, it was him, Kakashi, and then Ren Nahara, and then also their mentor being Minato, the 4th Hokage. So just kind of like that connection, and you're seeing it. Obviously, it's very interesting because Obito's story is more told in Shippuden rather than Naruto. So with that, it's kind of like, but his impact has such a profound impact on Naruto and other characters.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, I want to touch on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because of the fact, like when you say parallels to Team Seven, like literally, you just took Team Seven, just give them a new coat of paint, and then that's basically Team Minato. Because yeah, Kakashi was Sasuke, being the aloof, always perpetually serious member. Rin and Sakura were the same because they're the girls of the group, and but one was infinitely more useful in the long run. And then you got Minato, who was the old Kakashi, being like the mentor, being kind of the funny guy, like being the prodigy, being the mentor, like, oh snap, you got him as your mentor, and he's racking up bodies. And then finally we got Obito and Naruto, both hot-headed, ambitious people who were considered to be like the lower end of their respective people. Obito being like, a low run member of the Uchiha clan, like he couldn't even activate his Sharingan yet.
Mhm.
Then Naruto not even being able to cast a simple shadow clone jutsu before learning how to do the multiple shadow clone jutsu and saying screw all y'all, I'm him. So yeah, it's like, and also like both of them like have ambitions of becoming Hokage. Both of them are more likely to go out of their way to help people. And as you mentioned, like we learn more about Obito in Shippuden, but as we keep going, you see like how his life affected all the characters in regular Naruto. So yes, and also another big thing about Obito is just the fact like he, just like Team Seven, right? He has a crush on the girl, aka Rin, just like Naruto had a crush on Sakura. But that same girl has like a crush on the third member of the group, aka Kakashi slash Sasuke, and also he has like a pretty major rivalry with said aloof member because he's like, well, first he was like, oh, it's because you think you better than me, and it also is like, oh, it's because of that, like, hey, you got the affections of my girl, man.
And then something interesting to think about is that it kind of flips in a sense where we'll get much more in depth later, but where it's like Obito becomes the Sasuke character where it's like, yo, I'm gone. I'm not who I used to be. I'm gonna like go on my own path. And then to an extent, Kakashi is like, he becomes the Naruto character where it's like, yo, I'm really trying to connect with my friend. Although there is a period of time where he wasn't aware of him, but you can see those parallels in Shippuden when it becomes more clear with that. So again, like you mentioned, they have a growing resentment towards each other just because, again, prodigy. And then this was before, the Uchihas were like completely wiped out. And it's just like, oh, you're living off your name. It's like, oh, there's a whole bunch of Uchihas. Like you're a nothing burger. So kind of also with that, they also have the bell test, which is something what Kakashi uses later that we see like at the start of the actual first Naruto series. So with that, again, Tobi isn't, spectacular, but he also is able to connect in that way of like, hey, we can't leave our team members behind. And that like also has an impact on Kakashi later on. So I believe we can transition to there.
Yeah.
In this time period, there's the backdrop of the Third Shinobi War.
Ooh, yeah, and it was before we get to the current war. It was touted as one of the longest, bloodiest, the most brutal war, which left no one who was in it unscathed.
Yep.
And everyone was changed by it. And also, again, parallel number 2 for Vader, because like, oh yeah, we got like a hot-headed, ambitious child, and then you also get a backdrop of a whole war that somebody who's at his age is completely not emotionally mature enough to be a part of.
Great point. That's a great point I didn't think of.
Yeah, and also the fact like, hey, this war will change this person for the worse. So Team Minato, of course, like they're kind of like on the front lines because Minato is him. So like Minato can one-handedly kill everybody, everybody in his path. So his rest of the team, like they're going on their own separate mission. So of course Minato wasn't there for this, but they get ambushed. Uh, Obito managed to finally awaken his Sharingan, but then like as he's doing so and he's fighting much more competently, Kakashi loses his eye in the fight, and they end up fighting together. Rin gets kidnapped, so the two of them had to put their rivalry aside to go help rescue their teammate. And then from there, we get to the final fight in which which Rin gets rescued. However, before I even get to that, there was a moment where Kakashi was like, he was gonna leave Rin behind in order to go complete the mission. But Obito has to knock some sense into him, saying like, hey, those who don't follow the rules are garbage, but those who abandon their friends are worse.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, this line actually sticks with Kakashi all the way to adulthood. So that's kind of like your first instance, like, hey, Obito changing somebody for the better, a la Anakin changing Obi-Wan for the better. Ding. Okay, that one was a little bit more nebulous. I'll even say that. But yeah, so essentially it comes a moment where they rescue Rin, but then the cave they were in was starting to collapse. So Obito managed to push Kakashi out of the way, and therefore getting his like the right half of his body completely crushed.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Oh yeah, you good?
And yeah, just with that, a little bit of more backdrop. With that, they kind of also tell the story of like Kakashi continues to level up more than Obito. Like he becomes, Kakashi becomes a Chunin first. Then Obito manages to catch up because he loses to Mike Guy because Guy is him. As we learn in the final fight, then Kakashi becomes a Jonin once Tobi becomes a Chunin. So it's just kind of like leveling up. There was a moment where it's like Ren and Minato give Kakashi gifts, but Obito quote unquote forgets to like give him a gift. So that's kind of like showing the tension between them. And like you mentioned, the whole can't leave friends behind aspect, which again ties into the bell test. So with that, we get to the point where we learn that he gets taken in by an elderly Madara who is holding on by the fate of God.
Oh yeah, because and also don't forget that like in this moment, like of course, like yeah, half of his body's crushed, and he like, and Obito's like, hey, I'm about to die, and I didn't get you this gift.
Exactly.
So my gift to you is the Sharingan that's not completely crushed by this rock right now.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, that's my gift to you. And then like they do the eye transplant, and then Kakashi and Rin leave. Of course, by this point, that gives Kakashi his Sharingan, and of course now he's able to do his Shidori much more effectively. And Obito gets crushed, where again he gets saved by Madara, who is barely alive, a la Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker.
You actually mentioned that for once.
I know that's the only reference I'm ever going to give to that. So yeah, because of, and then that's when he starts. Of course, like he wakes up, the right half of his body like gets repaired by Zetsu, but he's more disfigured. He got like scarring on that side of his face now, and also again he doesn't have his left eye. So of course like that's completely like bandaged up, and also like, and then I've got of course like he didn't have like a regular arm like right side of his body, so it's like all plant like and Hashirama cells.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Hashirama cells, so it's like wood / malleable, whatever. But that's when Madara starts getting into his ear, a la Palpatine getting into Anakin's, where he's telling him like, hey, listen, I know you're a young Uchiha, my boy, but just know that this world is completely trash. You gotta wake up to reality, and also just gotta wake up to reality. I know, like, hey, this world is completely done. It's nothing but war, segregation, hatred. Like slowly whispering just his philosophy, and over time, like you start seeing, like, hey, because Obito, like, of course, keeps vehemently denying this, and it's like, because he's still like his full optimistic self. He's like, hey, I'm gonna like get out of here, reunite with my friends, because I know Minato is perhaps like running himself ragged, trying to look for me. Uh, like I'll be there. Of course, by this time, they created like a whole memorial for Obito and create a whole Obito memorial for him. Like, hey, one of the fallen ninjas on a T-shirt, R.I.P. But yeah, and then we get like perhaps the moment that completely changes Obito.
Yes. So with that, again, the third Great Ninja War is still continuing on, and essentially he gets information that hey, Ren and Kakashi are both in trouble. So with that, he's like, hey, Madara, I'm gonna help them. It's been good, my guy. I'm gonna head out. We won't see each other again. And then unfortunately, this is when he witnesses Kakashi killing Ren with the lightning blade. He uses lightning blade. So with that, there's no context to it when he sees her die. So it's just kind of like, oh, my quote unquote best friend just killed the woman that I loved.
After he promised that that he will keep her safe.
Absolutely. And so if you take it's similar, not the same, but similar to the moment where Anakin sees Obi-Wan with Padme, where it's just like, what is going on right now? That's like you hear the break in their soul occurring. So with that, both of their Mangekyo Sharingans awaken at that point in time. Kakashi eventually, I believe he faints. Yeah, he faints because of it. Because like again, he's not an Uchiha, so he shouldn't really be awakening it like that. This man goes crazy, wipes out the entire like evil ninja force, and then it's just like similar to that. He's like holding Ren in his arm, is like, yo, this is the woman I loved. I wish I could have told you XYZ, bump Kakashi, and then he like comes right back to Madara.
Well, he also says like, he's right. This is not real. This world is hell.
And Madara has open arms. He's like, welcome, my guy. Time for that infinite Tsukiyomi. So similar to parallels with both Vader and Doom in a sense, where we bring in Doom is that with all of them, they suffered great loss. So Doom with his mom, I know like later on you mentioned that he sacrificed a loved one, so I don't know how much we want to like give credence to that, but losing his mom, then obviously like disfiguring his face. We have Anakin / Vader, where it's just like he loses Padme, loses his mom, loses Qui-Gon Jinn. Again, the backdrop of a war. Obi-Wan gives him that work. He's disfigured, has to, have the Vader suit as life support, essentially. And then we get to Obito Uchiha, again, crushed by a boulder, having to be rebuilt. At this point, he doesn't wear masks later on. He eventually, like, adopts the mask and stuff like that, but then he loses Ren, and with that, again, and then it's a war going on. So it's like you see that great loss tends to change people. And we did a philosophy of pain story character study series. So we covered Eren Yeager, which is yeah, Eren Yeager, Pain / Nagato from the Naruto series, and then also Scar from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And what's crazy and different between those characters and these characters is that those characters suffered loss on a greater scale, which included like loved ones. Like Eren thought he was the last of humanity, lost his people. Scar lost like his people got wiped out by a genocide. And then also just like Pain, he lost his entire village. And then like obviously his best friend. But with these, it's so much more intimate. And then it changed them to such a great degree, which again shows grief.
Yeah, and then of course like another parallel is that all three of them start off with the best of intentions until the moment, as you said, till the loss happens in which they fully snap. And with that, it's like, of course, like from there, like they, of course, go on that diverging path, which leads them to making all the moves necessary in order to run across the hero.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, with Obito now fully drinking the juice of drinking the Madara juice, he or the Madara Kool-Aid,
yeah,
or the infinite Kool-Aid, He's like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. Madara dies, and thus he implants the Rinnegan that Madara had into a newborn Nagato. It's like, all right, I'm going to use this child, and of course, like as he grows up, we gon' groom him into basically like working with us. Which of course, as we mentioned in the Pain episode, like after the loss of Yahiko, like that's when he works with Tobi in order to like, all right, we gonna get peace by any means necessary. And Obito is like, because at this point, Obito, he fully embraces Madara's identity. He's like, yeah, I am Madara Uchiha. I am Himothy. I am the ghost of the Uchiha. And
it's also crazy that the part that he played in Yahiko's death.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like he is the reason Yahiko. That's why I said he grooms Nagato, because of the fact that like, hey, he sets everything in motion so that Pain will go into evil, almost similar to how Madara supposedly set everything in motion for Obito to go evil. Generational trauma, everybody. Just like how Vader causes generational trauma to everybody he meets. But yes, now we get to what I refer to as the first true Obi-Wan moment, where he kills the mentor figure. Where, all right, so, and mind you, at this point, Obito's like 14 years old. I'm just saying that, like, when he kills Minato, or when Minato dies, he's like 14 years old.
The age in these shows is crazy.
Yeah, it's like, this dude look like a full-grown man. Yeah, he's 14. All right, so what happens is that Minato's wife, Kushina, she's pregnant with Naruto, about to give birth, but then she's also the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox. And of course, like, her being pregnant, about to give birth, causes the seal to weaken. And as soon as Naruto's born, that's when Obito decides to pull up. He's like, hey, I got your baby. I'm taking your wife. You got to pick and choose which one to save. Of course, Minato saves Naruto, and that leaves Obito to be able to kidnap Kushina, because his Sharingan allows him to travel through the Kamui dimension. So, of course, he does that. He releases the Nine-Tailed Fox from her, has it under his control, and goes on a rampage throughout Konoha, which proves that, like, hey, he's like, all right, none of this is real. And like, he has a full nihilistic view of everything, to where he's attacking like his own village. And mind you, the Uchiha at this point, they were okay, but they were like on the outskirts. After this incident, the Uchiha are considered the pariah,
the Eldians.
Yes, they are the Eldians of Naruto at this, because of what Obito does. So
crazy.
Yes, like, because again, like, he takes her to Nine-Tails. Nine-Tails go on a rampage, and then Minato fights Obito to where he gets completely worked by. He got completely worked by Minato. He's like, oh dang, I got taken out by my master. That's crazy. But yeah, so he disappears, which lets the Nine-Tails like completely free to go completely feral, and Minato and Kushina ends up dying as a result, while transporting half of the Nine-Tails into Naruto, setting in motion the events of the Naruto series.
So this is like, when I was like reviewing it, I was like, Obito, or you can credit it to Madara, however you want to do it. Like, this is Aizen level. I set your whole life on the path that it went before you were even born. Because again, like, leading into this, you know, again, that you described Naruto, like the path of him now becoming Jinchuriki, losing his parents, and then, you know, third Hokage being trash. And then with the Uchihas, if we're still going along like the kind of like chronologically, with them being under suspicion, this leads to them like, hey, we're going to do a coup d'etat. We're the most powerful clan. Why are they treating us like this? Itachi kind of learns of it. And then in this moment, Obito approaches Itachi and he's like, hey, I'm quote unquote Madara. With that, they treated me like trash. We got to stop this from happening. The Uchiha are corrupt or whatever. And that leads to the massacre of the Uchihas, which set Sasuke on his path.
Yes, like I even put it like in our notes, like, yeah, the Uchiha massacre is completely insane because Madara has, or should I say, Obito deliberately takes part in the massacre. Like, it wasn't just Itachi who killed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It was Itachi and Obito who killed the rest of his whole clan.
Insane.
That lets you know this man is gone. Like he's murdering his own village. He's murdering his own people. Like, what? Yep, he's taking knives and he's taking lives.
And this is before the Naruto series even starts.
Yes, this is still background information we learned in Shippuden. Which, speaking of, let's get to that because at this point he's, of course, like fully in the background. Like you don't see hide nor hair of him, but you know he's making moves. Like helping take out like different Jinchuriki, and at this point he goes by a different name. Tobi acts like a complete and total hamstring goofball with Datara, and in my opinion, I'm like, no, this is like Tobi is literally like what Obito probably would have been had he not gone down this set of darkness. That's my headcanon of he acting like how he probably would have acted like at that moment in time if he was still in the Leaf Village.
Mm-hmm.
Like a complete and total goofball, but still absurdly powerful to where like, oh yeah, I'm still able to cause work. Y'all just won't know it.
Yes.
And oh yeah, what?
I was just gonna say, because it's a lot of it is told through backstory and then some of it is like pure manga, some of it is like light novels. He actually like individually recruits a lot of the Akatsuki members, and a lot of the Akatsuki members quote unquote know who he is, or at least know that he's more serious than what he's presenting, because I believe who's the Kisame knows who he is, Nagato knows who he is, by extension Conan? Yeah, Konan knows who he is. Itachi knows who he is.
Zetsu.
Yeah, obviously Zetsu knows. So that's like at least like almost half the Akatsuki know that he is more serious than that and can like actually put in work if needed.
Yep. And of course this leads to a moment where he takes out the Three Tails, and he's more melancholy when he does so because at this point he learns like, hey, the Three Tails is what was put in Rin, and that's why Kakashi had to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
So, or more like that's why Rin throws herself into Kakashi's lightning blade, and kills herself. But so yeah, he's a little more melancholy there. But like you see like his moments of like his melancholy. You see the real him come out, but you see the Madara in him come out around the time Sasuke kills Itachi. He's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. This was all according to plan. I'm like, it's like in that moment in the dub, I'm like, whoa, where'd that voice switch come from?
I recall there's like a little part before it where he pretends to get clapped by Sasuke. With him and Datara. I know it's like a minor part, but yeah, when we actually see quote unquote Madara comes out, it's like right after Sasuke kills Itachi, which is insane.
Yep, and then he leaves the group, like the Naruto group, because he was there basically to distract them and keep them from getting to Sasuke.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he gets word, like Sasuke did what he had to, he's like, all right, bet. It's time to execute the next part of my plan.
Insane.
Teleports to Sasuke, saves his life, and then that's when he starts pulling the Madara on him. It's like, hey, let me tell you something about your brother. He actually saved your life because he was ordered by the Leaf Village to murder all of the Uchiha, and like Konoha is the reason that your life sucked. So, and that set Sasuke fully off the deep end. He's like, all right, I'm going to get revenge on the Leaf Village and kill everyone.
But it's funny because, as most corrupt mentors do, they reveal the truth out of context. Because, again, Obito was the one that set the Nine Tails loose on the village, which then turned suspicion on the Uchiha. So if he doesn't do that, maybe the Uchiha get to a point where they're pushed out even more. but not to the point where they get completely wiped out. So kind of like you mentioned, Konoha is now, enemy number one, which is really interesting because at that stage, I really wonder, Sasuke killed Orochimaru and then he killed Itachi. So those were the two people that essentially were like, yo, y'all two gotta die. So I wonder if Obito wouldn't have been there, would Sasuke, maybe it would have been a bit too late to come back, but would he be like, okay, I'm good now. I got my revenge.
So yeah, that's the key things. Like some people, of course, there's different fan stories about it. Like some say oh yeah, Sasuke, he just goes off on his own, like lone wanderer, and he's like, all right, I got my revenge. Time for me to go sit on the sunset. And then there's some where it's like, hey, he fully returns back to the Levi's. It's like, hey, I completed what I need to do. Good luck. And then also somewhere again, he goes off the deep end, which it turns out to be canon.
Because at that stage, he didn't do anything that was completely unforgivable against Konoha. So that's very interesting to think about before, we go to the next part of Obito.
Oh yeah. So as I said, he basically gets Sasuke and his group go after Killer Bee, which was a horrible plan because hey, seven sword style, and also again, it's a brother. He locked in.
Ooh, that was a butt one.
he was locked in, but then he's like, okay, I can recover from this whooping. Sasuke, we pulling up on the. Oh wait, what did he pull up? No, he pulled up before that. So before he pulls up on the Kage Summit, he pulls up on Naruto.
Yes,
and had Naruto sleeping in a hotel, and then you see Obito just sitting in the windows, like, hey, what up, Nine Tails? We gotta talk. And you're just like, hey, yo. And then he's like, hey, yeah, I got your boy Sasuke. Oh yeah, he's going off the deep end. Yeah, I'm about to sick him on the 5 great shinobis. We're gonna cause a new war. Oh yeah, we gonna need your Nine Tails, my guy. So come here. And then of course Yamato and Kakashi, they pull up. So they were able to kind of keep Naruto from getting taken out right then and there.
Yeah.
But also this point, pretty much actually it ends up causing Naruto to have a full-blown panic attack.
Crash out.
Yes, blue screen of death. That's what he had because of the fact hey, this person who he been trying to save for years, his friend, is now public enemy number one because he went and tried to take out Killer Bee, which puts him on the right Kage's path. So yeah.
Yes.
Now pull up.
It's like we mentioned where it was I know this isn't a Sasuke thing. We'll probably end up having to. I was thinking we have to do an Uchiha character study of Madara, Itachi, and Sasuke. But just kind of with that, him pulling up and Naruto being like, yo, everyone told me to just leave you alone. And I fought so hard for you. And you haven't done anything that I can't pull you back from. And then now at this stage, because of Obito's manipulation, it's yo, again, the pull-up scene.
Yep. And now he pulls up in the 5 Great Shinobi Conference, and he's just the biggest hype man or the biggest instigator. No, he just instigates the entire time he's there because he doesn't need to fight. He doesn't even fight at all at this moment. He's just oh yeah, I'm here. Oh yeah, another member of the Uchiha clan, Sasuke. He's here to take y'all out. And oh yeah, Danzo, hey, give me Shisui's Sharingan, my guy. And then also he declares oh yeah, and then afterwards whole shenanigans happens. Folks is getting taken out left and right. Sasuke would have died. Danzo definitely does die.
Yeah. Before
Danzo destroys the Shisui Sharingan eye. Dang. And then also just so there's that. And then Obito, he declares the 4th Great Shinobi War. To which, at that point, he's all right, in order to prepare for this war, I need the Rinnegan.
Yes.
So he goes and pulls up on Konan. It's hey.
We got to get to the part before that first with Kabuto.
Wait, which part with Kabuto?
When he when Kabuto pulls up on him and he's like, "Hey, recruit me to it."
Oh,
Quote unquote Madara, if that's who you really are. And then Obito is like, "Nah, I don't need you like that." And then he pulls up the jutsu, and he's like, "You really?"
no. It was after that. No, it was after that
I
because
thought it was before because like he brought Kabuto to the base, and then that's when Conan was like, "What are you doing?" or something like that. It's like
no.
right around the time.
Yeah, it's right around the time, but no, it's after that because remember, Kabuto resurrects Nagato, but by this point he'd already have the Rinnegan.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, Tobi like steals the Rinnegan from his corpse, and then he gets resurrected.
Yeah, after he fight. No, like not the resurrection. Like he showed him he had the body of it, not the resurrection part. Like he showed him he had the body.
As I said, like it's after that because like Conan like kept his body like elsewhere.
No, I'm talking about the Madara body.
Oh yeah. The Madara body, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so we were on the same page. And that unfortunate Conan fight, man, she tried.
She tried her best. Izanagi for the win. It's like, choke the life out of this girl.
Mm.
And also another instance of, hey, this is another Vader ding. He fights a woman, and his mask basically gets cracked because of it, but he still manages to pull the dub out. A la Ahsoka.
Interesting. Yeah.
Tenuous thing. And then after that, he gets the Rinnegan. He manages to resurrect the all the dead shinobi, or Kabuto does. Fourth Great Shinobi War happens, and he's like, "All right, time to go get that Nine Tails." Yeah, and then just pure calamity happens.
Yeah, so kind of with that, we also get the reverse plot armor for the Akatsuki because they obviously didn't want to pull Naruto's like Nine Tails Fox from him, especially when it was like this point is when he has a lot of really good character development, and we learn that the Nine Tails is actually Kurama and stuff like that. So they get the Nine Tails chakra from the two brothers, which I was like, come on now. Like this entire time you've had to pull the entire Jinchuriki tail beast out in order to get it into the statue. And now you can pull a piece of its chakra out. This is where
same thing with Killer B.
Exactly. It was only like a piece of the tail. This is because I remember I was like, yo, Killer B is right here. How do you have his thing too? But that's where My Hero Academia learned how to keep powering up the villains unnecessarily. So with that, yeah, again, he reincarnates the Jinchuriki. That's his 6 paths of pain, essentially. Fights Naruto in the I Killed Your Daddy fit at the beginning of the war. He was wearing the exact same fit the day he broke out the Nine Tails, which is crazy. So they have that fight, which was a really like good, interesting fight to cover. And he's again trying to recruit. And then he also learns that Kabuto revealed the truth that he's not the real Madara to both Naruto and Killer B. So he's trying to recruit them to his side. And he's like, yo, you should know more than anybody about grief because you're also a Jinchuriki. So just kind of with that.
And also the fact that I killed your parents. We ain't talking about that part. He conveniently left that part out.
Context doesn't matter when you're a villain, apparently. So yeah,
gaslight is real.
So they scrap with that, and then essentially, I can't remember how that fight ends because I know Naruto is like the main thing is him trying to pull up to the butt whipping that the real Madara is handing out.
A clone was there. So what happens is like, oh yeah, they're fighting. Kakashi's with the real Naruto, and that's when they learn like, oh yeah, their Sharingan, they have the same Sharingan. So, and of course, like they treat that as a reveal, and then it's like, oh yeah, we need to clue in, and they're like Sharingan, same dimension. The mask breaks, and that's when Obito is now fully revealed with again a completely different voice. I'm just saying. Yeah, he decides like, all right, my mask is off. I don't need to keep on doing the deep model voice anymore. Now I can just be myself.
No one.
Yeah, I can be myself, which is no one. And that's, of course, like Kakashi, my guy, they pretty much everybody who knew Obito was like, the heck, man?
Yes.
And that's when he's like, hey, listen, I did all this because you let Rin die. It made me realize that this life is horrid, that everything's gone straight to hell. this world needs to be reset. This infinite Tsukuyomi needs to happen so that way we can all be in a world where there's no war, there's only peace, and the dreams that you make it. So that leads to, of course, different fighting shenanigans happen.
Andrew fights.
Oh yeah, this is different shenanigans. By the Ten Tails again pulls up, Madara pulls up, and this leads to perhaps like one of the craziest moments, because before the greatest hand-to-hand fight of all time, Obito, or should I say the Ten Tails, kills Neji.
Yeah.
Yeah, R.I.P. with the stick. And all this time, right? Like Naruto, like of course he's dead. Well, Neji's dead. Naruto is like, of course, his philosophy was like, hey, no one's gonna die on me, and like I'm gonna stop you. Neji dies, and then you just see Obito. He's basically like, all right, hey Naruto, what was that you were saying about keeping your friends from dying? Yeah, can you say that again with a straight face to me? Like, he's doing everything in his power to basically break Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with all the death that's happening around him. And Naruto nearly caves in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he nearly, like, fully breaks until Best Girl Hinata shows up and literally slaps the sense back into Naruto.
Yeah.
And from there, it's like, oh, dang it. Like, and of course, you see the disappointment in Obito's head. And that's when Kachi comes in. They both go to the Kamui dimension. And then they just have one of them ones.
That was incredible. I mean, just like the cinematic fight of it where it went, it's a flashback of a former fight. And it's kind of them, in a sense, reenacting, just like on instinct, their fight with each other as ninjas. I mean, as like training, tuning, or getting. And, at the start of the fight, they do like the hands gesture where it's like, oh, I respect you as an equal. And as that goes through the final part, where it's, I think, at the end of the fight, where you see the real Obito, well, the current Obito, yank his younger self away, metaphorically, of course, and just like go after Kakashi before being welcome to the Donut Club.
Yep. But, unlike everybody else, this does not kill Obito because he's like, yeah, again, this is all that's left of me. I have no heart because of this war. And
I'm working on pure hatred.
Yes, I'm working on pure hatred, gaslighting, and spite.
Yes.
And now my spite is directed towards Madara, so he manages to Kamui himself back out and absorbs the Ten Tails into himself to become the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. And this is very interesting because of the fact, like at this point, the Ten Tails starts trying to fully take control of Obito.
Yep.
In which you see the imagery of like the picture of him with Team Minato, and it's all starting to crack away. Like Kakashi pretty much gets cracked fully away. Minato gets cracked and fully away. Oh yeah, by this point, Minato's actually fully back, undead, and he manages to nearly kill Obito, and that's when you realize, oh snap, it was you the whole time. Yeah, and then but then as the Rin part starts to go away, that's when he like fully takes back control and is like, all right, bam, now I have full control of the Ten Tails. And again, he's fully spouting his philosophy of like, hey, let's continue to create the infinite Tsukuyomi. He's fighting Naruto and the gang. And finally, this is the part where there's a whole an ideology battle between Naruto and Obito, which ends with a clash between their swords, and Obito's sword breaks, to which leads to perhaps one of the most contrived talk no jutsus of all time. Yes, the whole meme about talk no jutsu pretty much stems from this moment here, at least fully, because of the fact that like, yeah, he's talking to him, and then like you see the imagery of like Obito's friends behind him, but then you see all of Naruto's friends behind him, and it's like well and much larger. And he's like, hey, come back. like come back and like be the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf, and Obito like he gets has a flashback like oh, or really he imagines like what his life would have been like had he not encountered Madara and returned back home. He's like, oh yeah, I could have been Hokage. I could have been good. So like all right, so yeah, he comes back to life, he's fully good. And he's like, all right, listen, for my final act, like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna die for this, but I'm gonna use the rebirth to revive everyone who's been killed in this war, a la what Pain did.
Yep.
But Mara's like, oh nah, we ain't having none of that.
We don't play those games around.
We don't play being soft around here. I done spent decades. I spent decades being dead for this. Nah, revive me. Revive me.
Uno reverse.
Reverse. So yeah, Madara, like he fully, yeah, he's like, oh yeah, you were my puppet, Obito. Revive. And so yeah, he gets fully revived.
So that's like a parallel to Palpatine, where it's just like, yo, you thought I was your guy this entire time, but it's like, nah, you are doing my bidding. Because I am the one above all.
I am Himothy. So yeah, and of course, by this point, yeah, Madara then kills both Sasuke and Naruto.
Yeah.
And in a moment of like true redemption, right? Obito manages to like he goes and he saves Naruto's life by implanting him with the other half of the Nine Tails that's within his body.
Mm-hmm.
And then so yeah, that happens. Of course, like Madara's whole thing happened. But yeah, so essentially like Obito, he's like, well, he's basically back to himself at this point, and he's just fighting. Well, he's fighting against Madara until Madara actually goes full Sage of Six Paths and rips the Rinnegan out of his eye, and then takes the Sharingan out of Kakashi's eye and puts it in him. And then Obito gets controlled by Zetsu.
So like we again see the parallel with Vader in a sense where it's like in one of the biggest moments he turns against his quote unquote master and is fighting for the side of good. Obviously, like the Vader one was just like boom, spur of the moment. But you saw like Luke working on him over the course of like at least 2 movies, and then with Obito, Naruto, like convincing him having that moment with Kakashi, learning that. So, you know, again with the fight with this guy Madara, who was way too overpowered, he was one for all. Before one for all, we then get a literal god that has to kill Madara.
Oh yeah, the biggest what in the world? Yeah, so Kaguya comes in and of course like Obito, like again, he's fully controlled of himself. He has his full Sharingan and he uses it to like transport between dimensions because at this point Naruto, Sasuke, and Kaguya, they're fighting in dimensions now. And Obito has to like use his Sharingan to keep teleporting to different places. But at the end of this, right, like there's a moment where Kaguya shoots basically a one-hit kill move at both Sasuke and Naruto. And Kakashi stands in front of Sasuke to take the hit, and Obito stands in front of Naruto. But then Obito uses his Sharingan to send the attack that's going at Kakashi into the Kamui dimension, saving his life. But then he gets hit in the process, and basically says to Naruto like, "Hey, it's okay. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go be with Rin. You just finish this up. You be Hokage, because remember, because you're living my dream now too." And then he dies.
Yeah,
another Vader parallel right there, where he dies saving the main character's life.
And then I believe he gives him some of his power with the Sharingan once more again, because that's when Kakashi uses Susanoo, right?
Yeah, so while he's in the or he's probably like was in limbo with Rin, and like he's talking with her, and of course like he's back to his child self, and he's like, "Hey, I have so much to tell you, Rin, but I can't right now. Kakashi needs my help." And then he uses the Kamui to teleport himself out of the afterlife.
That's crazy.
Teleport himself out the afterlife, but because of course he's dead, but so he has no corporeal form. Instead, he gifts Kakashi temporarily both his Mangekyo Sharingan, which allows Kakashi to go full Susanoo temporarily.
So yeah, that kind of like wraps up. You see the parallel now. He finally is the one that saves Kakashi again, giving him his eyes, and now he's reunited with his loved one. So, man, Tobi, like Obito is like one of the most complicated characters in Naruto. I feel like a lot of characters in Naruto are super complicated when you break it down. But again, doing a parallel with Naruto, whereas with Obito in his darkest moment, Madara filled that void when, like, say, if Minato was there for him, he turns out complete. He probably straight dies because, again, they don't have the Hashirama cells, but, you know, he doesn't turn into what he eventually turned into, where it's with Naruto, he had a Iruka sensei. He had the ramen guy that helped him out, Ichiruku ramen. And, like, imagine if, I'm trying to think of who would have got to him in the village that would have, like, turned him, because obviously the third Hokage literally turned everyone against him.
Or more like Danzo turned everybody against Naruto.
That's true. So.
And the third Hokage basically did nothing to stop it. So yeah. So if there was one person who basically screwed Naruto's life up tremendously, it was Danzo. But yeah, so like when it comes to that, right? I think like you pretty much hit the nail right on the head. It's like, hey, who you are around and like the circumstances of like who you're around ends up actually having a dramatic effect on like whether or not you, on like what path you end up on. Because say Naruto, like again, like let's say Danzo did what he did, but he also got to Naruto's life would have been on a straight path of darkness. I'm not even gonna lie.
Even the parallel of Naruto and Gaara. And we did a character study of both of them where it's like Gaara's dad tried to assassinate him every night.
Yeah.
So just kind of with that, where it's like it really matters who gets to. And unless there's anything we specifically want to touch about with Obito, I think we can go into like just the mini deep dive on the series as a whole.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Talk about like, hey, what's the main thing between all three and what's the through line between them?
Yeah, I think the main thing is just that how people process grief, and then how we process grief, and then who reaches out to us in that grief. Doom is a bit different because like he had his grief and then he just kind of went on his own path, as opposed to a Vader and then a Obito where they both had people that were kind of slowly manipulating them until they had the breaking point, and then they're like, okay, boom.
I think in the case of Doom, we can make like that argument that yeah, he had those people, but he chose to reject them.
That's fair.
Yeah, and like the person that was in his ear was his own ego, his own pride. If you want to like make it that.
And that's like important because if we all focus just on our own personal lives, obviously before we started the pod, both of us weren't in great places. I'm not saying we would have pulled an Eren Yeager and ended the world, but or Death Star. But I mean, like we weren't in great places. And then I don't even know if grief is the right word, but just like then coming together through what that is and the friendship that we developed through this, the people that we've gotten to meet, the different things. Where it's like, again, you know, it's not what happened to these people, but like with grief, them turning to such like evil acts with it was something that's crazy. And I think something that I also want to take away, because even with a Doom to an extent, is that most people aren't too far gone to reach out to them. In a sense where it's like most humans, most are like, they don't really believe that they're bad people. It's just that the decisions that I make, here's what I'm presented, here are the decisions that I make. If you are given the same situation, would you make the same choices? And everyone's environment is different. So it's like when you kind of like reach out to them, with that. We see with a Naruto where he's so persistent with it, where it's able to reach Obito. We see with Luke where he's so pure-hearted, he's able to reach his dad and Vader. And then even with a Doom, we see Reed from time to time, or like a Doctor Strange, like you mentioned, where characters are like, hey, you're so powerful. We acknowledge that there is a greater evil than you, and to your extent, you wouldn't want the world to end. So let's work together.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like that's a testament to the human condition and just how we can, yeah, I think like perhaps the biggest takeaway for me, things may not go necessarily as well as you think it might or where you want it to in life, but at the same time though, you like the environment that you're in, who you choose to be around matters. Who you congregate around matters. And also just like that, it's like it's your willingness to want to change matters too.
Yes.
Because unless you want to be like Doom, where you wholeheartedly reject that, reject the goodness in you, you can be a Darth Obito.
So that's actually interesting that you put it, because like with Doom, where I was trying to compare that, I feel like Doom is the most quote unquote evil in a sense, in terms of these are the decisions that I'm making because I am so great. This is the world that I personally envision without anyone outside of myself in my ear, where peace will be achieved because of me. Whereas with the other two, it's like, hey, I was actually really pure-hearted and I just got broken down in life. And we see that so many times in life, which is like truly sad to happen.
And I think it's partially even because of that, and because like the people who can remind you of who you are before can certainly have a part in helping you remember / realize that part of you.
That's a good point, because with Doom, we don't really see someone in his life when he's still like, that knows him as good in a sense.
Well, he had his girlfriend, but
yeah, as you mentioned, sacrifices needed to be made.
Yes, but he took her out expeditiously.
So it even showed like how much he really didn't care about it.
Oh yeah, nah. The only person he loved was his mama and himself.
That's not it. All right. So I think with that, we're wrapping up our Mass Character series. Obviously, again, listeners, you can check it out. We did Dr. Doom, a very interesting one, Darth Vader with a special guest, and then now we're wrapping up with Obito Uchiha. Next week, we are doing Gladiator 2 movie review. We may or may not have a guest for that, so definitely looking forward to that. So let's get into our What's Hot.
All right, so in the realm of anime, right, Blue Lock is out here, finally locking in with the U20. We also got Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, My Glorious King.
It's time.
My Glorious King, he's back.
I can't remember if it's going to be this season or if it's going to be the next season, but I need the glow up from our blue-haired captain. The Ice Prince himself.
Now what I need is a welcome to my soul society. I need it.
Boy, I need the other bog. It's about to get crazy. It's about to get crazy.
It's about to get dummy. But speaking of going dummy, Dragon Ball Daima, this newest episode, it was an embarrassment for everybody that's not named Goku. There was a statement that's out there. It was like, yeah, when Goku realizes he's stronger than you, he's the most disrespectful person on this planet. I believe it. I'm a believer now.
Him and Vegeta, yeah.
Because what he does in this episode, deplorable. Also, Don, good heavens.
Yes.
Why? And then One Piece again is fully on break. So yeah, good luck. And then now, as for TV, let's talk about it. Penguin.
Yeah. Oh.
I need Bruce Wayne to come up and give Oswald like a 20 piece. Broken kneecaps.
See, I thought what happened to the person would happen. I did not think that the person that did it would be the one to do it to them.
Uh-huh.
And oh my gosh, just the way it was framed, you're like, okay, we made it, we're good. And then the writers were like, the Penguin is a villain.
It's like,
You
look,
need to remember that.
yeah. And then, but also don't forget what happened to his, you know,
Yeah, that was
say,
the writing of those last two episodes was crazy because the framing of it, whereas like he was always like, man, the city had took my brothers.
the city took my
It's wrong.
brothers, and we were wrong. See, for me, I had a feeling, right? It was either it was gonna be like gangsters, or like he had a small part to play. No, he had a big part to play.
He was the part. Dude, I hated the kid more than I hated the older one until what happened at the end happened. I was like, this kid is a sociopath.
Ma, ma. I'm like, nah, no. Nah, keep stabbing. Keep stabbing.
You want what happened with the rumbling that happened to the kids?
Hey, yo. Nah. You wild for that one. You wild. Oh, nah.
Man, I hate ours. I hope he gets dropped off a building.
Look, all I say is the Batman 2, I'm desperate. I am pleading.
People, if he gets beat up in the Batman 2, will be shouting in the theater.
And then for those who don't know why people are shouting why he beat him, all we gonna say is watch Penguin,
Please.
beat, 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 beat.
So someone played a clip from like I think it's Arkham City when Batman is whooping Penguin, and it was like this needs to happen in the movie.
You know, I need to replay Arkham just for that. You know what? Gave me a good reason to re-download it. All right.
What else?
But speaking of download, gaming wise, Spark and Zero, come on, man. We still out here. And then MK1 drops their Ghostface trailer, and all I'm gonna say about this is, Ghostface, you are severely outmatched. you are outmatched, because there's like an intro where, you know, like after you break, one character attacks the other, and then like they get into a fighting stance. No. What happens to Ghostface is the character attacks, he gets knocked down, and then like he lifts himself back up, like holding the side of his. I was like, dang, I got hit straight in my chest. What in the world? And you're just like, nah, Ghostface, you're cooked.
Like you think literal god.
Yes, you're fighting literally a god of time. You're fighting Omni-Man. What you think a butter knife gonna do? Nah, you cooked. Also, COD 6, Black Ops 6. I haven't gotten it yet, or I haven't gotten to it yet, but all I know is zombies. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. And yeah, that's pretty much all that was on my radar.
Right.
Of course, Venom War is ending, so yeah.
So with that, video games Dragon Age the Veilguard dropped. I downloaded it. I was waiting to just like get some stuff off my plate. I'm finally gonna play it this weekend. Looking forward to that. With trailers, we got screwed. I truly believe that Disney hates us. So we finished recording, and then literally the Captain America trailer and then the Thunderbolts trailer drops like the day after we finished recording. That Captain America trailer, again, they should have kept it New World Order. Maybe, I think with NWO, there might have been some issues with that, like the old wrestling crew. But with that, man, that trailer looks so good, just the way they framed it. It felt like a spy thriller, and I really love how they're getting back to giving certain characters their own personality and own movies. So that was super interesting.
Yeah, like their own genre.
Exactly. And then the Thunderbolts, it was mostly the same trailer, just a little bit like stuff added in and there. So that'll definitely be a fun, quirky thing. I want to see who directed that, but I feel like Thunderbolts is something that if James Gunn had, he would have so much fun with it. But yeah, 2 movies we're looking forward to, so those trailers dropped. As of the day we're recording this, the Cobra Kai Part 2 finale dropped. So I will be checking that out this weekend, along with Arcane Part 1, Part 2 of Season 2, which is the final season of Arcane. Definitely looking into that. And then just with movies, Overlord, The Sacred Kingdom, Heretic, something I'm going to check out this week. Gladiator. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta tell you about Heretic.
Oh, I'm watching it Tuesday.
Oh, oh,
Is it that good?
it's so cerebral.
Okay.
You gonna be questioning a lot. You gonna be questioning.
I'm checking out Heretic this week, so I will let you know the moment I watch it. So then also Gladiator 2 and then Wicked comes out. And then also something big. I know we didn't really love the second movie, but Dune Prophecy, the TV series, is dropping as of tomorrow of this recording. So that's something to check out on Max.
Interesting.
I mean, Dune 2 I think it made as close to $1 billion, or it made over $1 billion, so.
Of course.
All right, so that's it. So we can get into our plugs and get up out of here. Again, just a reminder, we will be doing the Gladiator 2 movie review next week.
All right, so for our Instagram, X formerly known as Twitter and Threads, we're under Blurred City 22. Like, comment, subscribe, stay up to date for all notifications and scheduling. We also have our Instagram linked in our Discord linked in the Instagram page. That's where, if you want to join this fight community degenerates, go ahead and click that link. We also have our YouTube and Patreon under Blur City Pod. If you want to donate some extra cheddar, you can get access to very exclusive episodes not before seen. We also have our email address, blurredcity22@gmail.com. If you want to send like episode suggestions, geek out, freak outs, and all the like. And if you want to send spam mail or send hate mail, it goes right to the spam folder, never to see light of day. And then finally, I am the Jedi Born on Mustafar on TikTok. However long we got TikTok left, because as of certain days, let's just say it's already getting banned in Canada. So yeah, good luck.
Ooh.
And that's all I got.
All right, for my individual author pages, we got my Instagram, Metri_Dash. That is METRI_DASH. From my I might get rid of X. I'm not gonna lie to you. / Twitter. That's at the @MadDash16. The look you're giving me. And then if you're interested in my book, Phantom Reckoning, A Most Regular Tale, that's available on Amazon, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble. So with that, we can get into our words of encouragement.
Yeah. For my words of encouragement is that, hey, if you're in like distress or pain, or you go through different trauma, don't hide behind a mask. Because if you're hiding behind a mask, you're not really dealing with the pain itself. You're merely bottling it up, and it's going to cause untold havoc in the long term.
For my words of encouragement, this goes to those around people wearing masks. It's not always too late to reach out to them. As we covered in the previous 2, it's that some people just need someone to be in an ear that can listen to them, a hand to hold, someone to just like hug them, or just hang out and just sit with them. So with that small gesture can turn them from a path that leads to destruction. So with that, like we always say, it's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now. This is Blurred City Podcast.
See ya later.